Many of my clients out here in Arizona, we suffer from the elements of summer.
Mm-hmm.
So we all want healthy hair. Do you have any tips for like dry scalp issues?
Absolutely. I mean, biggest thing with dry scalp is a lot of times it comes from pulling your hair back a lot. So is that something that are you wearing a lot of ponytails and your girls out there? I mean, I imagine in Phoenix, and plus with it being the summer with the summer happening and being upon us, pulling your hair back really tight can cause that like around your hairline.
Okay.
But if it's actually something it's more of like, a psoriasis-y type moment or dandruff or something like that, then, getting in there with those particular products with the zinc and things in them can always help. The problem is a lot of times they strip your scalp of the moisture that it needs. So if you are going to use something like that, then you want to make sure that you also pair it with a product that's going to give you the nourishment that it needs. Right now, Dove's Daily Moisture is amazing. I don't know if you've tried it yet. They've just reformulated the entire line. It's basically their best conditioner they've put out at the moment.
Okay.
And I think a price point for clients, is always a plus as well. If they can get a product that they can use that, isn't going to completely break the bank, and then that way, they can come to you for more blowouts and things like that. But But yeah, I mean, the dry scalp thing is always a touchy one because a lot of times it's just, you could brush it. A lot of girls just don't realize that whole Marsha Brady brush your hair 100 times type of thing doesn't really benefit your hair as much as it does your scalp. So, her whole thing was she was sitting there brushing her beautiful long locks when really it's the scalp that is the more important part because you want to actually slough off a lot of that skin or oil or whatever it is that's on your scalp and work it down through your hair strands. And that way you can also, prolong your hair and the life of your hair because you're not using so many sticky things and things that are weighing your hair down.
Right. Right. It's all about the healthy scalp, right?
Yeah. Well, it's all about, yeah, exactly. A healthy scalp for sure. And then, you just want to make sure you're nourished, is one of the main things. So, a lot of things also could be diet. I don't know if you girls are, I don't know what age you girls are or anything like that, but if there's, a lot of yeast in beers and even in breads and things like that, a lot of times can actually come out in your skin. So, I mean, if you're like, super, I don't want to say you have to go gluten-free, but just like if you are doing things where you're eating a loaf of bread every day and drinking 7 beers, then sometimes you can definitely see that come out in your scalp. So, that's, even like people say, wash your hair with beer every once in a while to, make that beautiful, your blondes look a little more ambery glow and, which is one thing. It's great for the hair. It just can come out, when you're sweating and in the scalp.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. And then, so for part 2 of that question, what about the girls who are chemically parched and they spend all day in the pool and their hair's just dry? Do you recommend that same daily moisturizer?
Yeah, that one would be fantastic for them to use on a day-to-day thing, but they're going to need something even more. They're going to need something a little bit more intensive, and they're going to maybe even have to move into that, I like to say every Sunday is your mask day, where you leave your mask in for 20 minutes or something like that to really get the hair back into its shape. And also there's a couple great products out there that can actually strip like all that chlorine and all that buildup and things like that. And it's a product called Pre-Art. And I can't really remember who makes it.
Is it like a clarifying?
It's kind of like a clarifying. It's actually like a clear gloss that you put onto the hair and you sit them under heat for about 10 or 15 minutes. And it kind of pulls all of that green and all of those minerals and all of that unwanted deposits that's usually normally in blonde hair just because blonde hair is the most porous.
Right.
So, with its cuticle being open and with the damage that it has because of the overprocessing or just the processing, that's when you get things actually leaking into the cortex of your hair, which changes the color. And that's when you start getting that yellowing and the greening and, and things like that aren't just, they just aren't beautiful, and we want to make sure that we're always promoting, the most beautiful looks we can.
Oh, for sure. Okay, and our next question was, how do you feel about Brazilian blowouts to combat frizz?
I think the Brazilian blowout thing is good as long as you're not overdoing them. I think also not only for a client standpoint, but as a stylist standpoint. And, it's one of those things I've noticed. I mean, I've been doing them here for a long time. And now because they are becoming so popular, it almost seems like we're doing multiple ones of them a day in the salon. And
Yes.
depending on, your ventilation systems and things like that, the last thing you want is for the salon to become, that nail salon-y feel where you come in and you're just like, whoa.
A cloud of,
Yeah, you don't want to like walk in and be able to cut the air with your finger, and that kind of thing. So, I think the Brazilians and they have their place, but at the same time, if you can kind of get your hair smoother without having to use that, because then you got to deal with grow out. You have to deal with, a lot of uncertainty on how your hair texture is going to come back from it. And it never seems to work as well the second time as the first, which I don't understand. Like, I feel like your hair almost builds up an immunity to it. So, I mean, ultimately, if you can just use a product that's going to smooth your hair out, I just feel like that in the long run is going to be better, because just all the heat and the flat ironing and all that kind of stuff, it really is just, it's going to be gone soon enough, because we're going to start embracing the big hair again, and, the big Velcro roller sets and the hot roller sets. And
we are?
Yeah, that's kind of where we're going with everything. I mean, I feel like I want to start putting away the flat irons and really start embracing.
Oh, yeah, mine's been tucked away.
Good. Oh, good. Well, you're already moving in the right direction. So, I just feel like because of like how Great Gatsby had such an amazing, rapport with all the hair, and, like now with Mad Men in its final season and all of that kind of stuff, I just feel like women are going to really start wanting their hair like that. I know I was sitting at home, like, and my girlfriend was like, I would love to have my hair set in rollers. And I was like, oh, geez, I'll break them back out. I mean, why not? I mean,
can I not just be Joan every day from Mad Men?
Yep, exactly. Or Betty.
But, I'll take it.
I know, right? I've actually I was just working with January and Christina both, and they're both just the most sweetest women in the world, and it's just so funny how polar different they are than their characters.
Oh, my gosh, I need to come assist you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Come to New York and spend some time with me.
I would love it. Okay, so that kind of brings us into our favorite trends for fall. So you feel like we're moving away from heated tools.
Yep.
And what are you seeing for like hair color and cut?
Well, hair color, I mean, I feel like with the ombre, kind of, it was embraced, it was embraced so heavily for so long. And then people started realizing that it was like their ends were so damaged and they wanted to keep their color. Like, they wanted to keep their hair long. Like, that's the thing with women. They, once their hair is long, they embrace it until it's too long. And that's kind of when we went into all that crazy color. So everyone was like, oh, my tips are blonde and they're damaged. What can I do now? Oh, let's put blue on it, because the blue is going to soak it right up and it's going to look cool for a minute, So that's when we started getting into all that crazy coloring and that My Little Pony coloring. And now that's just gotten so outrageous that I feel like back to actual coloring for a purpose now, I think, is what's going to start happening. It's not just about, oh, my roots are growing in, I need my roots touched up. It's going to be more about, hey, I don't mind my roots, but I just want a couple more highlights maybe around my eyes to, make the blue in my eyes sparkle a little more. Or, just start the highlights from my cheekbones down to bring my dimples out into the forefront, or my smile. Like, I feel like highlights need to be used correctly. Like, I don't think highlights mean bleach my roots up. That's totally different. I feel the word highlight should highlight a feature. So, I think women are going to continually kind of embrace the fact that they don't need to color their roots, which obviously makes their color last longer. But now it's just going to be about starting to connect that ombre back up, up in a way that starts becoming tasteful again and starts making you look feminine and beautiful.
Okay, I like that. I like that a whole bunch. Okay, so you feel like ombre is on its way out.
I do, yes. I'm sorry. I was sitting there nodding my head, and I'm like, you can't see me. Yes, I'm thinking. I mean, it's still going to be around. It's still a great look. I just feel like we're going to be moving towards it. It's not just going to be such a paint dip look anymore. Like, it's not going to be so stark. It'll be a much more softer variation. Like, I still love the look of, I mean, I think naturally the hair should be lighter on the bottom as opposed to on top. Like, it should never be blonde. You know how you start getting the over blonde? And then all of a sudden the ends start fading out, and then you've got, other colors in there, and they start washing together, and now all of a sudden the underneath is some weirder color. So yeah, I think that's basically what we're thinking for that.
Okay, great. Well, you answered all of our questions.
Well, thank you so much, Hillary.
I totally appreciate that, and I would love to come visit in New York.
You should, absolutely. And for your site also, if your readers need anything else, always have them just have the link to dove.com/greathairaffair, because they're doing amazing giveaways and things too that can promote your blog amazingly.
Wonderful. I totally appreciate that.
All right. Have a great day, Hillary.
Thank you. Bye-bye.